Hello, this is Gabriel with ABU Games, and today we got in our first shipment back from our most recent submission to BGS. So I thought I'd open that for you here and go over some of the cards that we received and go over some of the highlights, and should be pretty fun. All right, here we go. We'll go through these cards. Looks like we got a bunch of cards from Revise in the dark in this shipment. Looks like start off with some of these reserve list cards. Oh, this one's not. That, a 9. You're always looking for at least a 9-5 on the revised. But, okay, here's the dark cards. Now a 9 Ghost Ship. Not exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's more like it. That's a pretty nice one. Quad 9, or well, 3 9-5s and a 10. A 9 on a Leviathan. Another all 9-5s and a 10. That's nice. This one, Knight of the Thorn, or wait, sorry. What the heck is this? Knights of Thorn. Knights of Thorn. This one's really hard to get high grade because it's almost always off-centered. But it's like super disappointing on a card like this to get a 9 or an 8.5 on corners. Generally, my threshold on all the subgrades besides centering on a card like this are super high because I know that it's not going to get the best centering grade. So I'm usually extremely careful on the other subgrades to make sure that those are all going to be at least a 9-5. So to get an edges of 9, centering 8-5, and surface of 9-5, the edges and centering grade, or in corners grade, is super disappointing because I know the centering is not going to be good. So anyways, I'm not sure what happened with this, what they saw, but not happy with that one. Pretty much every time I see a 9 on a dark card like this, I'm just disappointed. It's like, what happened? Why? Sometimes you just can't tell. You can look at the card and it looks perfect to you, but they see something they don't like. They ding you for it. Really, ideally on cards like commons from the dark, you'd want to get quad 9-5s or better. I mean, I'll take a 9-5. It's not easy. It's just not easy is what it comes down to. But something like this is pretty disappointing to not get a 9-5 on. It's just, it's always sweet to see a quad 9-5 card, doesn't matter what it is. All right, looks like we got to some foils here. I didn't do that many foils in this shipment. A few of these here were someone specifically requested I get those graded, so they wouldn't be like this Scion of the Darkness. I sent in a few. The customer only wanted one, so there will be one available on the auction. But when someone specifically asks for a card to be graded, if it's one that I'm confident that it's a good card, I'll get it graded specifically for them. Then they have first dibs. So if you're out there, we're looking for a specific card that you want, I'll take requests. It depends. I have different rules about it. If it's a card that's a total garbage card, I have different rules than if it's a good card and I don't mind getting it graded. I have different ways I want to cover my bases on those. Reserve list visions cards, I guess. Some in here. Oh wow, this is sweet. Bam. Pristine 10 copy artifact. That is cool. And 9/5. Oh, 2 10s. A 9/5 and a 9 centering. Ah, so close to another pristine. Oh gosh, this one's even closer. 1.5 away. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, another one. Man, these are some good grades. Revised cards, whatever reason, BGS likes revised cards. I think it's has a lot to do with the corners are really flat on revised cards, so it's easier to get a high grade on the corners, which makes the overall grade somewhat easier to get. Boom, pristine brain geyser. That is cool. Quad plus. That's sweet. Back to some of the dark cards. Hidden Path. This is a funny card. When I first, when the dark came out, this was one of the cards that I thought was, I remember just thinking, this is so awesome. This would be unbeatable. All my creatures will be unblockable. I was really, really excited. Now this is a completely unplayable card. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use it in 20 years. But I remember liking it. I don't think I ever actually played it. I just remember looking at it and thinking it was just going to be awesome. Royal Assassin. I do have a story about Royal Assassin, actually. A revised Royal Assassin. Back in the day, I had a friend that wanted to play for Ante. So we had our Ante decks, and he played this mono black deck, and I don't know what I played. Probably played a Goblin deck back then. And part of the rule was you got to have some reasonably decent cards in the deck so that it was kind of... Because you knew you were going to be play for Ante, so you weren't going to put hundreds of dollar cards in them. But anyways, he had a black deck and he had Royal Assassin, and back then that was a really sweet card. And I mean, not like Mox or Lotus or anything like that sweet, but it was still a sweet card. And yep, I won this card off of him in Ante. That was cool. Man, I love Quentin Hoover artwork. One of my favorite old school artists for sure. There was a bunch of people in my play group when I was first starting that just loved his artwork. I remember he had some kind of fantasy, Quentin Hoover fantasy cards set that came out, and we were all getting into those too. I don't know what happened to those. I haven't seen those for a long time. Sweet, pristine, hypnotic specter. This was always one of the hot cards back in the day. Ritual this guy out turn 1 and you are set. Sweet Lord of the Pit. Oh, 0.5 away from pristine. It's funny, it's something about I guess it's like your ADD. It's something satisfying about seeing a card that's got all 9 5s. Even sometimes it feels better than 3 9 5s and a 10. Pristine Saint Gear Vampire, that's cool. Oh, this is a cool one coming up here. Savannah 9/5. I cannot get enough dual lands in 9/5. Oh wow, this one was really close to pristine. 0.5 away. No love for the Underground Sea. What we got? 8/5 on edges. I don't know what happened there. Although I have to say, sometimes a little bit lenient on the revised dual lands in that I'm not super disappointed to get a 9 on them because people still like the 9s on the revised dual lands. They still have value. I mean, increased value over a raw card. So sometimes I'll send in revised dual lands, even though I don't think it's necessarily going to get a 9/5. As long as it can get a 9, it's worth getting graded for me. Wow, this is a pretty interesting card. 3 10s and a 9 on the edges. Ugh, that is brutal. 9/5, 1.5 on the edge from being a pristine. That is sick. Mana Vault. I remember there was a point when there was extended tournaments that let you play. Well, there's basically when you could play Illusions of Grandeur Donate deck, but you could also play Mana Vault and Dark Ritual and Force of Will. It was like one of the most busted decks ever. Have all that super fast mana and that combo. Oh man, that was sweet. Oh gosh, that was so sick. I was winning in a Grand Prix playing the Illusions Donate deck, and all I needed to do, I got the third game, and all I needed to do was get a Dark Ritual. And I had Demonic. What the heck is the card? The one that you flip over cards at the top of your deck, and you name a card, and you have to flip over, I can't even remember how many now. Is it 7 or something like that? Cards, and then you flip over till you hit that card. Oh man, I know it'll come to me in a second. But anyways, I just needed a Dark Ritual. I played that card to get it, and I somehow miscounted, and there was none left in my deck, and I lost, and that was the end of it. And I swear, I don't even know what happened, because after the game, I was so flustered, and I looked through my deck, and I couldn't find the 4th Dark Ritual. It's like the card vanished, and I swear I should have had one left, and there just wasn't one. Super, super disappointed. The Dark is a very interesting set because it was the set that came out right after the Legends, and Legends is considered a pretty solid vintage collectible set, and then the Dark came out, and it's somewhat collectible still and considered a vintage set, but it's not the same kind of like I don't know, prestige that the Legends had or Arabian Nights has. But it still has some amount, and it's obviously the next set was what I think Fallen Empires after that, and that one obviously no one really considers a prestigious set. So it's like that in between where is this a cool set or is it not? It's always been kind of an interesting one. Oh, this is cool though. I know this is cool. A pristine balance. That is sweet. Pristine Savannah Lion. Man, those are cool. Realistically, I should just be grading all the revised rares, because if I can get anything a pristine revised rare, it's going to be a cool card. I also have a pretty soft spot in my heart for revised. It was the set that was out when I was first started playing. Those were the packs that I could actually buy, and just like I loved them so much. So I'm super nostalgic for revised. It was like revised is the set that I always used or could buy, and I loved the cards, and that's what I kind of played with and had. And all the other sets, Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, were the kind of like, I don't know, untouchables or something. They didn't really exist because it's not like you ever saw packs of them for sale. And I started like 3 months after the game came out. That's how ridiculous it is. I missed out on all that cool stuff. Revised duel. Oh, here's a cool card. Shipment Dragon. This was, I remember sitting in my bed, I had 2 Shipment Dragons I had in a top loader back to back. So either way you looked at it, you saw the front of the card, you know? And that, I just remember just being so happy to have revised Shipment Dragon. That was like the pinnacle of what you could hope for at one point. Okay, here we go. That's a sweet one. Pristine Fork. I remember, I have a story about that, I guess. I remember some friends of mine, they went in on a box of revised, and then they were taking turns. They basically drafted it, not to play with, but for keeping the cards. So, you know, it was interesting. So they explained, like, kind of went over what they did, and the best 2 cards that the first 2 picks was Fork and Force of Nature, and I thought to myself, well, of course, Force of Nature, that's got to be the #1, and the guy said, no, I took the Fork. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Force of Nature is huge. Sweet. 9/5 Birds of Paradise. I wish I had 1,000 BGS 9/5 revised Birds of Paradises. Sweet. Quad 9/5 plus Bayou. That is nice. Straight up quad 9/5 Rock Hydra. Even better. That is a nice card. Sedge Troll. Okay, so Sedge Troll. For whatever reason, one of the first cards I had was Zombie Master, and it gave, Zombie Master gives your zombies regeneration. And so I had it in my head that I just wanted to get all cards with regeneration. And I didn't even really understand what regeneration, what that meant, or what it did. I figured it had something to do with keeping your guys alive, and I just thought, that has got to be good. I want to get all the cards with regeneration. So I saw Sedge Troll, and I just had to have it. So I don't know. I traded for it. Who knows what? All right, getting close here to the end. Looks to be a bunch more revised cards. Nine 5 plus Savannah. It's pretty sweet. did good on the revised cards and the dual lands. A lot of nice ones here. Cannot get enough of these guys. Just contributing to the world all the gem mint revised dual lands I can. Howling Mind, that was a card you could never get enough of back in the day. All right, here's a sweet card. I had high hopes for this one. I was having such a hard time finding any cards, the reserved list, or legacy, or destiny foils, and this Academy Rector I was surprised by how good a condition it was in, and it did. It came back 9/5. That is sweet. And Powder Keg. This is an exceptionally hard card to get 9/5. I don't know if this one has it. Let's see. Yeah, you can see on the back of this card, there's a line. I'm not sure if it's coming up in the camera or not, but there's like a weird, I don't know what to call it. It's like a printing error that comes on almost every single this card. And sometimes BGS will look at that and just crush your surface grade. Sometimes, I don't know if they miss it or just the particular grader knows about it. I don't really understand how they handle a printing error like that because it's not consistent. So, I mean, personally, I don't think it degrades the value of the card much because just about every single one has it. So who's to say that card is not mint from the pack? So I feel confident in still calling this a 9/5 gem mint card. That being said, getting one graded 9/5 is really hard because you never know if you're just going to get hammered on that surface or not. So that is a sweet one. And our last card, a 9 donate. Would have liked to see 9/5s on all these types of things, but still a sweet card. So that's it for this shipment, and we should be getting more. They're shipping us partials of these, of the big overall, like 2,500 cards. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed watching the results for these, and we'll have more coming shortly.